So here's what I decided to get for dinner, deciding to place a TRAX order, which has ultimately left me with about $63 left in dining points. They accidentally gave me a packet of blue cheese sauce instead of barbecue sauce, but it's still pretty good. Though I would have preferred the barbecue sauce, but I did get the ranch sauce. Now this is the penny I often use to open these game fuel cans. Here's just to show how my room currently looks like. It's not that messy, but it would definitely be a great idea to do some picking up as we're nearing the end of the college semester. This bin is actually completely empty. This was intended for my roommate, but ultimately I never got a roommate, and I think that story is true for just about everyone on campus, I'm thinking, due to the COVID pandemic. I heard while I was at Sean's place, one of my dad's friends, that there's been a spike of cases in Brockport, which has raised the COVID cases, raised the alert system within Brockport from green meaning new normal to blue meaning intermediate alert. This means that there'll be increased education and messaging regarding face coverings, hand washing, social distancing, and so forth. In regards to what will stay on campus, there'll be reviews of things that could potentially be moved to being online, I think. I found this fork on the ground outside on the pavement while I was walking to the Harrison Dining Hall building to pick up this TRAX order. I was number 945. And I am assuming that, for the most part, waiting in the line is for walk-up orders, but obviously I got a bit carried away and briefly forgot that it's supposed to be just one person at a time. I guess I got a bit eager at the fact that when you do online orders, you get there to pick it up and you state your order number. I guess I got a bit carried away since I'm used to doing online pickups from TRAX. The vast majority of the time I have gone to Harrison Dining Hall to get either lunch or dinner. That's where these tray containers come from. In the middle is the jacket my dad gave to me. As I know it's actually been unusually warm. For the current season. We were at Sean's place for, I think, roughly 6 hours, from noon to about 6 at night. Despite that, I still ended up being pretty late. I don't think the clan quest on Iron Rage we start at 6 p.m. Sunday anymore, or at least it hasn't been very consistent. I discovered at Sean's that there's this kind of problem where I can't quite get this charger in all the way, even though this is the correct charger for this laptop. I first observed it at Sean's place, sitting at that dining table, and I tried to start my computer after I think it got drained to roughly half a charge. I'm currently at 39%. So I don't think the battery is increasing any amount, even though I've tried to put it on battery mode and decreasing the screen brightness to 85%. I'm not entirely sure what's wrong. I'm thinking maybe that there's something stuck in the charger port. I'm going to have to fish it out somehow. Sean gave me these cookies, these M&M cookies, 4 of them total, and we had wrapped in a napkin to keep them fresh. For extra protection, I put them in this mini fridge. We first picked up Bill, and when we went to pick him up to take him to Sean's, he gave me these mini pound cakes. which I think I will also put in the mini fridge. And it was at the end of Sean's visit that he also gave me these pieces of styrofoam. Which means that I basically have a duty to make something out of them. Depending on how chunky it is, I either like blue cheese or don't like it. And it also depends on how much of that blue cheese taste there is. It's not that chunky, but there is some of that blue cheese taste, so I don't really like it that much. Today was also the day I did a VHL Central assignment that I think was added as part of some changes to the VHL Central assignments, part of the not doing grammar anymore. And now I don't have one until the 16th of November, but I do gotta go on my talk abroad and set up the appointment for my last talk abroad conversation. Based on what lesson 12 is about. For my Spanish class, it's going to be about the rooms and furniture you would find in the home. My battery is currently at 39%. I just downloaded the audio from my third talk abroad conversation. And I've gone back on this. My current problem with this is that Misty Forest gaining 2 combining catalysts is a tricky task. I don't recall of any buildings that'll freely give them to you, and in regards to crafting them, for me, that takes, I believe, 19 and a half hours. I'm getting closer to meeting the requirements for that before getting to chapter 4, although I think what I'm going to have to do is try to negotiate the remaining provinces, since don't seem to be very proficient at the combat aspect of the game, at least not for the time being, or at the very least, I've been down on my luck in regards to that quite a bit lately. I like this mac and cheese quite a bit. I'm currently trying to catch up on my YouTube uploads, especially since I have this hour-and-a-quarter long video detailing basically the time my mom took me on my birthday, the 21st, which happened basically the other day, took me to 58 Main, as was suggested by me. I think it was also intended that we would go to King Crab today regarding my birthday, but I kind of forgot about that in anticipation for Sean making chicken and rice for lunch at his place for the football games my dad and his friends watch. Within the living room. Of Sean's house. I had concerns that he might own a dog, because based on my experience, they tend to be pretty hyper and can end up disturbing you if you're like me and like to be on the internet a lot. I got some work done on the new 99th Dan Hamming, but I'm currently trying to navigate the scene where the bowl of mustard goes flying. I think I just need to implement the animation, make a new draft of the new 99th Dan Hamming on Camtasia, then shut this laptop down so I can try and resolve the issue with the charger port. there's a little dent on it here. I don't know if that has anything to do with it. But I know it's charging when that light is on. Excuse me. %. It just says it's plugged in. It's not actually charging. But it is keeping it from draining any more as long as it's plugged in. But it's not replenishing the battery itself. In the morning, my dad gave me some tea at his place, his apartment unit. And in regards to Sean has a full-blown home, and I think he made cheesy, savory-flavored rice-a-roni, because that's what it ultimately looked like. It ultimately tasted pretty good, and the chicken was pretty good too. I like chicken a lot more when it's moist. I might like moist non-fried chicken slightly more than fried chicken. Because with fried chicken, once you eat that fried skin off, it's just a bunch of dry chicken. Or at least in some cases. Moist fried chicken is even better, but the only example of that I can recall from my memory is McDonald's chicken selects. And I don't think they sell those anymore. But the McRib is back for a limited time. In case that wasn't already public knowledge. I may try to save the blue cheese sauce like this by putting it in the mini fridge like this. So if I do that, I may decide to tape these together to add more protection to the blue cheese dipping sauce. The first thing I did today, this 8th of November, was to finish up that styrofoam I was making my dad out of The Thing from the Fantastical Four. Now, I stayed up until I believe it was 4:09 at least in the morning to do so, which was past the 2 in the morning my dad wanted me to go to bed by, but because I knew I had stayed up later than I should have, I took a precaution of setting up a computer alarm or 10 in the morning, and then went to bed. Not too long after doing this. And it did the trick. If I recall, I woke up at roughly 9:15 in the morning. I think the exact time is 9:18 in the morning. At least that's the time that's echoing in my mind at the moment. When we went over to Sean's place, Dad had me pack those. Chocolates we got at Saratoga Springs the other day. In regards to that, Dad ate the two that were allotted to him. Possibly both Irish creams, because he seemed to like that one a lot. No, maybe not, because he knows that I ultimately chose to get one Irish cream for myself. I think it was because it had those little lines of, dark chocolate and milk chocolate over a lightish milk chocolate truffle. My best chance to ultimately get those two combining catalysts came in the form of that new Tower of Eternity challenge opening up, which I believe unlocks when you reach chapter 3. This first encounter was my best chance of doing that. I had a 1 in 5 chance of gaining 3 combining catalysts, but I got 300 spell fragments. It was 500 spell fragments instead, which I think is most common with a 60% chance of happening. In regards to trying to get to a point where I can get the others, I'm not exactly sure how good I am. Militarily at the moment. I think I ultimately spent quite a few units, expended quite a few, on some, what I think would be some rather costly engagements. And I believe that's what ultimately led me to deciding to that mage unit has an annoying decrease attack ability. Although I'm pretty sure that's what just about every mage unit either has a special effect that increases the damage you receive or decreases the damage you deal. I went with the ranged unit because these Tridents aren't very good at dealing with that mage unit. They're strong against everything else. Maybe in retrospect, I should have did all Tridents, maybe. I see a way to doing something. The light ranged are strong against this is no reason to give up. I think I'm close to victory, I think. I think there's just 2 enemy units left. Though it's hard to strategize when you're doing this in the perspective of a sort of blog. I don't think none of the other Tridents can reach this enemy unit. Yeah, I've not been going on Iron Rage. I've not been as active on Iron Rage ever since I really got into Alvenar. Or Game of Thrones Winter is Coming, for that matter. At least that encounter does come with a chance of getting diamonds, which are rare in that game, but it comes at a cost that it's a relatively tough encounter, being in that it's 2 waves of random enemies rather than just one. And afterwards, to get to the next area, you have to wait for a magic barrier to be removed. That first one only takes 3 seconds, but after that, it ramps up to the second one's about an hour, if I recall correctly. As I found this fork on the ground outside, I made sure to wash it and dry it off with a towel before using it, since otherwise it wouldn't have been safe to use it as it had been on the ground outside, which is a whole different ballpark from being on the ground inside. Because inside tends to be more private than outside in various ways.